Put the kettle on. It's time for some F&T. Here's your host, Kirsten Gentle.
Welcome to FTMA's F&T Time, a podcast and video series aimed at keeping the industry connected and updated. Welcome to another F&T Time podcast. Everyone knows that one of the things I love most about our industry is the people, especially our FTMA members. Well, in today's episode, I have the pleasure to be joined by two of our members, Kidd and Damien Whitnell, the dynamic duo behind the brand new upcoming podcast called Fatherhood Unfiltered. This project is a labour of love born out of their personal journeys and a genuine desire to make a difference in the lives of dads everywhere. Dean and Damo are no strangers to the myriad of challenges that parenthood can present. Both have navigated extraordinary and often difficult circumstances with their own children, giving them a unique perspective on fatherhood. Through the Fatherhood Unfiltered podcast, they aim to create a supportive platform where fathers and dads can share their experience, find solace, and gain practical advice for managing the highs and lows of parenting in today's modern world. In this episode, we'll talk to Dean and Damo about what led them to create Fatherhood Unfiltered, their vision for the podcast, and the objectives they hope to achieve. From establishing a robust support network for fathers to raising awareness about mental health issues impacting families, the mission of their podcast is both noble and necessary. Today we'll explore how they've planned to foster community, provide education and inspire hope through personal stories, professional insights, and of course with these two, always a bit of fun. Join us on this exciting journey as we bring the voices behind Fatherhood Unfiltered into the spotlight. You'll hear firsthand about their goals, expectations, and the steps they're taking to turn their vision and dream into reality. Whether you are a father struggling with the demands of parenting or someone who simply wants to support the dads in your life, this episode promises to offer valuable insights and, I hope, some encouragement. So sit back, tune in, and get ready to be inspired by Dean and Damo's heartfelt mission to make fatherhood a little less isolating and a lot more connected. Please join me in welcoming the fabulous duo, Dean and Damo. So welcome, boys. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Kirsten. Nice to be here.
Thank you, Kirsten.
No worries. So to start with, I've explained to our listeners a little bit about the Fatherhood Unfiltered podcast, but maybe give us a little bit of background on you both. So maybe we start with you, Damo, if you just give us a bit of background as to why you wanted to start the podcast, and then we'll throw it to Dean.
Yeah, so I'll just thanks for having us, Kirsten. Firstly, it's much appreciated. We just I thought a bit of a background on myself. I've got a son, little Jet, with special needs. He's got life-limiting condition called KCNQ2. So it's a condition that's pretty much undiagnosed. He's got a lot of disabilities rolled into one. And a bit of perspective on that, I just wanted to sort of tell my story to other fathers and other dads who live a life like myself and don't know how to express their day-to-day lives and go through what we go through. And just for other people and other dads to have an open forum to speak pretty much and open their hearts up. You know, we all live different lives. We all walk to the beat of our own drum and we've got different things that happen. But when you look at it in a holistic thing, we've all got the same values and we share the same experiences. So I just thought a couple of years ago, I wouldn't mind starting something for dads like us to express their feelings in an open forum who are living the same lifestyle as what they are.
And through our amazing industry, you connected with Deano. You know, I mean, some people say it was when two worlds collided, when you two became, you know, business friends and then came on to friends. So Dean, Damo wanted to do this and you know, you've had your own challenges and your reasons behind getting behind it.
Yeah, to see Damien or Witzy, as everyone knows him, with his family and his boys, it's a true inspiration. And I suppose for me, a father of three boys and 2 years ago losing one of our oldest son to mental health and to suicide, it sort of just made sense that Witzy and I did something that could, you know, be a bit of a difference because there's a huge gap there that we're only two little fellas, but maybe we could just close that gap just a little bit.
I definitely know. I mean, I know a lot of fathers that that do struggle. It's a hard world that we're living in now, that there's so many expectations on people. But, your podcast, I suppose, aims to create that supportive community for dads. So how do you plan to foster that sense of belonging and connection amongst the listeners, Damo?
I suppose just first of all is just hopefully getting dads like us to have a chat and just open up a little bit, and from my experience, I've been in my shell for a little bit. As you know me, Kirsten and Deano, I'm pretty open and I love having fun, but there are days where I'm always single. Like, I haven't been myself the last couple of weeks just because Jet's had a surgery. He's going through his day-to-day stuff, and I sort of just go back in my shell a little bit, and I thought, geez, that's not really me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not me, and if I can help someone else to open up and just have a good-hearted chat and open your feelings up with blokes like us, then we've done something together that helps everybody and helps someone else who we can help at the same time. So yeah, that's where the idea sprung from, and that's what I want to sort of make a difference in someone else's life and help someone else out. Then who knows where it leads? Like, that's just where I feel.
And I think, Kirsten, when you're down in the trenches, of life, I call it the trenches of life. It's really hard to look up and see what else is going on. So maybe if you could listen to other people's stories to go, you know what, there's other people like me, and there's light there, that I can listen to two cranks interviewing other blokes that are having the same issues, and maybe a solution will come out of those issues.
I totally agree. My cousin recently, about 8 weeks ago, had a very, very serious car accident. Amazing worker, doesn't like talking, but through his challenges, 8 broken ribs in 3 places, and some of them breaks in his legs, has to have hip surgery, all this kind of stuff. But he's got such an amazing positive attitude. And as I said to him, you don't realise, Matthew, that in these hard times, by you sharing how you're coping and showing the inspirational way that you're looking at your recovery, you don't know it, but it helps other people. It's amazing through conversations that you might be talking about what you're going through, that it will help others.
Yeah, exactly. I agree totally. It's like, if someone else can have a chat and call it to action, it steps in someone else's shoes. At least we know that making a difference for that, well, for your cousin. We're living totally different experiences, but that's inspirational in itself. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And Dean, you mentioned when Ellie set up a support group following Jackson's passing, that you realised then also that there was this overwhelming need for men to actually connect.
It was totally amazing. Within 2 days, the amount of members to that group was just mind blowing. It was hundreds of people that are connected to these groups. So much so we had to, advise Ellie to get off it, because she was taking everyone's problems on herself and trying to offer solutions. This podcast isn't about solutions. It's to remind people, my youngest now is 18, and I'm watching my middle son, who's, going through fatherhood now, just to remind people, you know what, you close your eyes, you blink, and they're 18. Yeah. You've got to stop, and you've got to, look at what you've got right now, and things might be so good, but it's going to be over, with a blink of an eye, and they'll be having their own kids. So we've got to have the good times there as well, especially being a father. You've got to have the good times as well.
Exactly right. Yeah, Ty's same with me, cousin Ty's my oldest boy. He's nearly 15, and he's just starting his journey in the teenage world. And
good luck.
It's yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking to myself. Like, it's girls aren't on the radar quite just yet, but there's so many other things out in the world these days, like with social media and other things to explore, that I just want to send him through the right journey, the same as what Dino's just spoken about at the same time. So.
Yeah, I totally have been there. I said, I reckon it's the hardest time of parenthood is those years when they start going out. But, so can you tell me, boys, like, mental health is a significant focus on the podcast. Can you elaborate on the mental health challenges that fathers do face today, and how you think your podcast will help that?
Well, just personally, in my world, and it's like the constant worry and stress. And like I've spoken to Dean the last couple of days, Jet's just gone through on a week ago today. He had major spine surgery for his scoliosis. And leading up to that, I was so bloody worried about the complications of what could happen in terms of, the surgery that he's having. He's had 2 metal rods inserted down the back of his spine, in through his neck. He suffers from severe epilepsy, a lot of other complications that he's got on. And that complications, I wasn't myself. I was like, oh, shit, what's
Oh, I could
going to
imagine.
happen? Like he's going to go under the knife for 6 hours under anaesthetic. How's he going to come out of it? Is he going to come out of it? And always positive, thinking that he always is going to come out of it. But there's always that doubt, that constant worry and stress in your life of like, what if? And the mental side of it for me, it was pretty hard, and especially for my wife as well, Christy, that we always stay positive, but there's always that little doubt in the back of your head of what's going to happen, what could happen. And it's an emotional strain. It really is. It's just an emotional strain from day to day, like leading up to it. And now he's come through it. He's okay. He's in recovery still. He's at home. Thankfully, he's at home and he's doing all right. So, but the constant mental stress, it's just it sort of breaks you down, and then you've got to stay positive. But sometimes it's not easy. It's really not easy sometimes, and you've got to stay positive, and you've got to have people like Deano who you can lean on. I lean on him a fair bit, and he's got a great mind for, what he's been through and his family, and we just connect, and the support network from just between him and I, we could send that to other people as well, and hopefully they can have that person to talk to,
Sometimes it's just knowing that you're not in it alone, isn't it?
You're not
Dean?
alone, yeah.
It is, and for me, like Witsy deals with this every day. My journey's different. Everyone else's journey's different, but it's when you're raising children, and I'm not. Everyone's got their important roles, between the mum and the dad. But the dad for me was, I got to get out and make some money. I got to make sure that I cater for the family, and nothing else will stand in the way. And I've got to make sure I support, and I've got to provide. But you know what, Kirst? When you get to, I'm not old. I still tell my boys I'm young. I'm 50 now. I'm 50 now. But if you could just at 50 go back again and go, you know what, this is not what the importance of this whole life thing was. If I could go back now and like Witsy amazes me every day that I talk to him, is that, his importance and his I suppose his priority is in life is everyone needs to listen to what the priorities are, and I wish I could go back and put my old head on my young head and say, you know what, let's just slow up here a bit and enjoy what we've got, which are the boys, and make sure that they're. Witsy's got a great saying: "You're only as happy as your unhappiest child," and that is totally, now for me it's so important that you're only as happy as your unhappiest child, and that's where I would like to tell people as well. You might be down and dark at the moment, but you still got your kids, and they're amazing, and you got to love them and hug them, because one day you might open your eyes and they might be gone in the worldly way, or just because they've moved out of home or moved overseas or whatever. So
I think also we're in the society that we're living in, it's easy to focus on the negatives. I mean, geez, you just have to turn on the bloody TV and it's negative. So the idea of sharing your stories, giving a bit of laughter too, because as you said, this isn't all about doom and gloom. Fatherhood's bloody great. I mean, parenthood is great.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
So you talk, Damo, about bringing in and interviewing people and bringing on special guests. Have you got any ideas of what kind of people you'd like to bring onto the podcast?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a vision, like to how we can sort of maybe open up and extend the podcast to other people. So there's a lot of connections. Like Very Special Kids have been a massive part of Jet's life and our life for emotional support. Oh, they're just unbelievable. They support, and I look at it this way, Kirsten, they support over 900 families.
Wow.
So in those 900 families with kids with disabilities and special needs, there's 900 dads. Like I've connected with probably 20 or 30 of them at events that we go to. We have a chat, and there are a few dads that are isolated. They're isolated. That there's a lot of their mates just go, oh, well, you got a child with special needs. We'll see you later, and that's not what I like to see or hear. It's just like, well, that's no good. Like your mates, you need your support network. You need your support mechanisms around you to be yourself. You can still be yourself, and you need that. You need that support. So
Everyone needs their tribe.
yeah, it's like I've always had this. We've had this saying: it takes a village to raise a kid with special needs. Like
Totally.
it takes a village, and we're lucky enough. We've got a huge village, and the support network we've got around us is unbelievable. And like I said, like very special kids. 3AW. I've gone on a few walks with Jimmy Bartell and Steve Beers from 3AW. Michael Wosley, all the volunteers at Very Special Kids. There's such an open, wide world for, to expand this podcast and get some people on board that really want to have a chat and support dads like us, because, they're in it for the right reasons, and they want to support families like us.
Is there an extra challenge being that, both of you have run? Dean, you now are working for another business, you lucky bugger, rather than running your own, but is there a different challenge also? Do you think that, you're trying to run your business and also, be involved in your family and be present?
I know it was for us, and there was no, especially for a family business, there was no delineation between work and home. So you'd get home and you'd be talking about the business around the table, which was even worse, and so all your problems sort of, I suppose they merged into one, which even made it tougher, But like I said, this is one story. There's businesses, and it is difficult. Everyone comes across periods in their life where they do need some help, and maybe just to listen to two cranks on the podcast to say how other people do have the same problems.
So tell me, do you plan on getting a studio? Are you going to do it have you got a man cave at home? What are you thinking of doing?
Come on, Kirsten, you know us, Kirsten. We're not like that fancy. We've got a bar out the back of Witsy's bloody house. That's as fancy as us we get.
Yeah, it's well hydrated, and
good Wi-Fi is important as well as the drinks. Don't forget.
Yeah, we've got a Wi-Fi extender. Out there, but no, we'll just make it nice. Well, we just want to make it relaxed as well. We'll get the lights going out the back and have a good chat and just open up our hearts a little bit, I suppose, and see where it leads us.
And how often are you thinking of doing it, boys?
We're going to do a few pre-recordings first, so we're going to have a few up our sleeves first, so just in case life takes over, we've got one to drop. But we're thinking that maybe once a fortnight we'll be able to get one out there. So, and like I said, do a couple up our sleeves just in case life takes over and we can't get there on that fortnight.
We'll have a few different topics each week, and it could be that your struggles, or what'd you do this week, what were your social events, or who'd you hang out with, or it's just there's lots of topics that we can cover, and even hopefully we get a few listeners. Firstly, because we get a podcast and it's only us three listening. We'll we might be doing this each fortnight and see where it takes us, but
I'm kind of thinking Sheldon and Amy with, fun with flags on the big Bang Theory.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, it's just who knows where it takes us. The world's our oyster a little bit, and we'll just tell our stories and introduce ourselves. There's so much more that we could both go into, but yeah, we'll just see where it takes us.
Well, all I can say is I find it inspirational, and I think that there are a lot of men out there that really, I think, would love to listen to you two, natter on about different things, because, we all need that bit of connection in our life. And I really love the fact that you're trying to bring isolated people together and as you said, have a little bit of fun, because I can see that there's going to be lots of laughter with you two doing this podcast, and I think it will make a big difference. And FTMA is definitely happy to support you and help at the start, get you up, and we look forward to your first podcast being dropped.
We appreciate it, Kirsten. It means a lot to us, both Witty and I.
Yeah, you've been awesome for us, Kirsten, and to all the FTMA members, we've got a great industry, and even if anyone out there wants to have a chat, you're quite welcome. We'll try and get some socials up and all that sort of stuff. It's a journey that we'll take seriously, and we're going to get it on the socials. We might get an email address and a phone number that anyone can call in or email us, and whoever emails will get back to you, Deano and I. It's something we're both really passionate about, and we want to share our journey with other people like us. So Fatherhood Unfiltered. Hopefully it takes the next step, and we have a good time doing it together.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations to you both. And I look forward to you sharing your stories, and I'll definitely promise to be a listener. So thanks again, boys. We'll make sure that we put some information about how people can listen to your podcast. And of course, we'll help share it once you get it out there for the first time. So thanks for joining us here tonight, and good luck with your Father Unfiltered podcast.
Love ya. Thank you.
Love ya. Thanks, Kirsten.
See ya. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the F&T Time with Dean and Damo. It's been an eye-opening conversation with two inspiring individuals who are dedicated to transforming the narrative around fatherhood. We hope their insights and experience have resonated with you and provided valuable perspectives on the complexities and rewards of being a dad. Remember, whether you're a father, aspiring to be one, or simply seeking to support the fathers in your life, there is always a community ready to welcome you with open arms. Dean and Damo's Fatherhood Unfiltered podcast is a testament to the power of sharing, understanding and connecting. Be sure to check out their podcast, subscribe and get involved. Your story and input can make a significant difference in someone else's journey. We thank Dean and Damo for joining us today. I know that their Fatherhood Unfiltered podcast will be entertaining. It'll be definitely funny, that's for sure. And I think it's exactly what we need in this day and age. Don't forget to tune in next time for more engaging conversations and thoughtful discussions on the F&T Time podcast. Until then, stay connected, stay inspired, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. FTMA is always there with you. Thanks everyone, and have a good day.